Toronto is Canada's largest city, perched on the edge of Lake Ontario. It's a vibrant mosaic of cultures where dozens of languages fill the air and foods from every corner of the globe are just around the corner. Skyscrapers, streetcars, and green parks blend together, making Toronto a city of constant motion and quiet escapes. But Toronto wasn't always this way. Its story stretches back thousands of years, shaped by the land and the people who called it home. From indigenous communities to waves of newcomers, Toronto's history is one of transformation. We'll journey through time, meeting the first peoples, witnessing the birth of a British town, and following the city's rise from muddy outpost to global metropolis. Along the way, we'll uncover the struggles, triumphs, and dreams that built this city. By the end, you'll see Toronto not just as a place, but as a living story, one that's still being written by everyone who calls it home. So, let's begin our adventure and peel back the layers of time. Discover the secrets beneath the streets, and meet the people who shaped Toronto's destiny. This is the story of Toronto, a city of change, challenge, and community. Long before Toronto, this land was home to indigenous peoples for thousands of years. They lived by the rivers and lake, hunting, fishing, and gathering what the land provided. The name Toronto comes from the word Toronto, meaning where there are trees standing in the water. Early inhabitants were nomadic hunters, later joined by farmers, ancestors of the Huron, Wendat, and Haudenosaunee, who grew the Three Sisters corn, beans, and squash. Their villages, built of longhouses, were centers of trade and ceremony. The Toronto Carrying Place Trail made this area a vital crossroads, connecting Lake Ontario to the upper Great Lakes. For centuries, it was a hub for travel and exchange among many First Nations. Everything changed in the 1600s when Europeans arrived. The French built trading posts and brought new goods and devastating diseases. The British and French fought for control, drawing in the Haudenosaunee and Mississaugas of the Credit. The land's fate was about to change forever. Indigenous communities faced upheaval and loss as new powers took over. The stage was set for a new chapter in Toronto's story. After years of conflict, the British took control and planned a new settlement on Lake Ontario's shore. Loyalists fleeing the American Revolution needed a home, and Governor John Graves Simcoe saw promise here. In 1787, the British made the Toronto Purchase with the Mississaugas of the Credit, though the deal was fraught with misunderstanding and pain. In 1793, Simcoe founded the town of York, not Toronto, naming it after the Duke of York. The first settlement was a handful of log cabins and muddy streets, carved from dense forest by soldiers and settlers. Life was tough. Mosquitoes, mud, and harsh winters tested everyone. Simcoe built a parliament and military garrison, hoping York would become Upper Canada's capital. Free land attracted new families, and slowly the town grew. Yet York remained a remote outpost, surrounded by wilderness. No one could have guessed this muddy village would become today's Toronto, but its foundation was set and the city's story was just beginning. The land, the people, and the dreams of a new life would shape everything to come. York's humble start laid the groundwork for a city of the future. The transformation from forest to town was underway. Toronto's journey had truly begun. Peace in York didn't last long. In 1812, war erupted between Britain and the United States, and York became a target. The town's defenses were weak, just a small fort and a few hundred soldiers. In April 1813, American forces landed, outnumbering the defenders. A fierce battle followed, with British Canadian militia and First Nations warriors fighting bravely. Forced to retreat, the British blew up the fort's gunpowder to deny it to the enemy, causing a deadly explosion. The Americans, angered by their losses, looted and burned York, including its parliament buildings. The burning of York was a humiliation, but it forged a stronger local identity. The war left scars, but also a sense of unity and resilience. In retaliation, British troops later burned Washington, D.C. The War of 1812 was a turning point, teaching York's people the importance of defending their home. The town rebuilt, stronger and more determined. The memory of war shaped Toronto's spirit for generations. York's struggle was a lesson in survival and community. The city would never forget its trial by fire. Out of conflict, a new sense of purpose emerged. After the war, York rebuilt and looked to the future. Leaders wanted a unique name, so in 1834, York became Toronto, reclaiming its indigenous roots. The city's first mayor, William Lyon Mackenzie, was a fiery reformer who challenged the powerful family compact. Political tensions boiled over in the Upper Canada Rebellion of 1837, led by Mackenzie. Though it failed, it showed Toronto's passion for change. As Toronto grew, so did its problems: no sewers, dirty water, and disease outbreaks. In 1847, thousands of Irish immigrants fleeing famine arrived, overwhelming the city and spreading illness. Many, including Bishop Michael Power, died caring for the sick. Despite hardship, Toronto expanded. Brick buildings replaced wood, and railways connected the city to the rest of Canada. In 1867, Toronto became the capital of Ontario, cementing its importance. Trade, finance, and industry flourished, and the city left its small-town days behind. Newcomers brought energy and diversity, fueling growth. Toronto's identity was evolving, shaped by challenge and opportunity. The city's transformation was unstoppable. From muddy streets to a provincial capital, Toronto was on the rise. The foundation for a modern metropolis was set. Toronto's story was just getting started. Toronto's heartbeat is immigration. After the British and Irish, new waves arrived from Italy, Poland, China, and beyond in the late 1800s and early 1900s. They built factories, railways, and vibrant neighborhoods. Places like Kensington Market became cultural mosaics. Life was tough. Newcomers faced prejudice and long hours for little pay. After World War II, immigration rules changed, and people from the Caribbean, India, Portugal, Vietnam, Africa, and South America arrived. They brought music, art, and new traditions, transforming Toronto into one of the world's most multicultural cities. Festivals, foods, and places of worship from every culture now fill the city. Toronto's motto, "Diversity our strength," rings true. Immigrants built the economy, enriched the culture, and created a dynamic, welcoming society. The city thrives on its diversity. Toronto is proof that people from everywhere can build something extraordinary together. Its story is one of hope, resilience, and unity. Toronto's growth brought big challenges. In 1904, a massive fire destroyed over 100 downtown buildings, but the city rebuilt stronger with safer building codes and a modern fire department. Disaster struck again in 1954 when Hurricane Hazel flooded rivers, swept away homes, and left many dead or homeless. The tragedy led to new parks and conservation areas, preventing future floods. Each disaster tested Toronto's spirit, but the city always came together to rebuild. Out of fire and flood, Toronto learned resilience and the importance of planning for the future. These trials shaped the city's character. Torontonians proved they could overcome anything. The city emerged safer, smarter, and more united. Every challenge became a lesson in community. Toronto's strength lies in its ability to rise again. The second half of the 20th century transformed Toronto into a modern metropolis. Rapid growth led to the creation of Metropolitan Toronto in 1954, uniting the city and its suburbs for better services. Construction boomed. The first Canadian subway opened, highways crisscrossed the city, and skyscrapers reshaped the skyline. The CN Tower, completed in 1976, became a symbol of Toronto's ambition. Arts and sports flourished. New theaters opened, and teams like the Blue Jays and Raptors brought the city together. In 1998, Toronto's government merged into a single megacity, creating one of North America's largest city governments. The decision was controversial, but it unified services for millions. Toronto's diversity and energy fueled its rise as a global city. The city became a hub for business, culture, and innovation. Every new building and neighborhood reflected Toronto's growth. The city's transformation was unstoppable. Toronto was now a world-class metropolis. Its story was one of ambition, creativity, and unity. In recent decades, Toronto has faced blackouts, blizzards, and ice storms. But each time, the city pulled together. Neighbors helped each other, showing resilience and community spirit. Toronto has hosted global events, from G20 summits to the Pan Am Games, welcoming the world to its doorstep. The city's film festival, museums, and food scene attract millions. Today, Toronto leads in technology, finance, and medical research. New immigrants and new ideas keep the city vibrant and ever-changing. From ancient trails to subway lines, Toronto's story is one of constant transformation. It's a city built by many hands, always moving forward. Toronto's energy, diversity, and openness make it truly unique. This is a city where everyone's story matters, and the next chapter is still being written.